Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Patrick Dang here. Now, if you're doing any type of selling, you already know one of the most challenging parts of sales is generating meetings with your dream clients. Whether you work in sales, business development, a freelancer, coach, or consultant, or even if you have your own business, generating leads is still one of the most challenging aspects of sales. And here's the thing, you might be sending a ton of emails every single day, but you might find not many people are responding. So what I want to do in this video is show you the top 5 most common mistakes when it comes to cold email, and you might find yourself making these mistakes too. So we're gonna make you aware of what these mistakes are, and we're gonna show you how to fix them. Now, before we go ahead and get started, make sure you give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure you hit that notification bell. Now, the first common mistake that I see people make all the time is that they have a bad subject line. Here's the thing when it comes to cold email. The first thing people see when they receive any type of email is the subject line. If you don't have the right subject line, it doesn't matter what you're writing in the actual email because no one's gonna open it and nobody is going to read it. So the first thing you gotta do is fix your subject lines. So an important thing to remember when you're writing your subject line is that you're talking to another human being, right? It's not, don't just think of it as a number, or don't think of these people as anonymous people that you want to make money from. You're really talking to another human being. And that's why you want to avoid certain spammy subject lines. Like for example, I see a lot of subject lines out there where they'll say something like free consultation or urgent or limited time offer. And the reason for why these things don't work is because if someone receives something like that, it seems a little bit of a scam, right? So for example, if you were to go into your email inbox right now, whether it's Gmail, Yahoo, doesn't matter what you use, go into your spam folder and look at what type of emails are going directly to spam. Chances are these are things that are saying like free this or urgent, limited time offer that, right? And these things do not work, especially when it comes to B2B sales. You want to think of it like you're talking to another human being and you're not trying to trick them into do something. And think of it like this, if you're going to email a Fortune 500 CEO, do you think they're going to respond to an email that says free limited time offer? Most likely not, right? A Fortune 500 CEO is not going to respond or open that type of email. So you should not send that type of email to these type of people. Instead, you want to change these bad spammy subject lines with something a little bit more appealing to human beings. So to fix these bad subject lines, I got a couple techniques that we can use over here. The first technique I have is using short subject lines. I'll give you some examples. One of my favorites to use is appropriate person, right? Just 2 words. And then in the first line of the body paragraph, I'll say, hey, John, I'm looking for the person who handles marketing. And I just go explain why I want to talk to them and what value I give, right? But the subject line, which is what we're focusing on right now, is just appropriate person. 2 words, very simple. I'm just looking for the right person. Other short subject lines you can use could be quick question or need any help with, and then blank whatever you're trying to help with, marketing, Facebook ads, or whatever the case is, right? So these are going to be short subject lines that are quick, easy, it gets to the point, and they're historically proven to get people to actually open your email. Now, you want to be careful not to trick people into opening your email, because just because someone opens your email and you have a good subject line doesn't mean they're going to respond, right? So you have to make sure your subject line actually relates to whatever it is you're talking about in your email. So that's an example of a short subject line, which is a lot better than these spammy ones I'm telling you about. Now, another good subject line technique that you could use is something I call the value proposition, okay? So the value proposition, all it really is your results plus method of how you actually get those results. So an example would be scale your business with Facebook ads. Gets directly to the point, people know what you're talking about, and people click and they read it and that's it. Another example is monetize your following with webinars, right? So you're trying to talk to, let's say, I don't know, Instagram influencer, and maybe they're not really making that much money, but they have a big following. Maybe they can do webinars to start monetizing their audience, right? And you might be able to help them with that if you have that kind of service. So as you can see here, all you're really doing is what value are you bringing to the person, and how you're doing it is you're showing what results you can give to them and attaching the method of how you will get those results. So these are a couple subject lines that you can use. Go ahead and test them out. They do work. A lot of subject lines out there that you find online, they actually do work, but the important thing is making it work for you. All right, so now we're gonna go into the second common cold email mistake I see a lot of people make, is that they will have these long, thick paragraphs, okay? You do not want to do this. I'll give you an example. So go ahead and look at the paragraph over here. I wrote a cold email as an example. It doesn't really matter what the content is. I just want to show you how we're going to break down the paragraphs. So in this one, what's going on is that I bunched all the sentences into one long paragraph. And as you can see, it's a little daunting to read, right? It feels very tiring on the eyes. And when people look at it, they're not going to want to read it. So you could take the exact same paragraph and you could break it up into smaller sentences. So I'll give you an example on this one. So as you can see here, every 1 or 2 sentences, what I'm doing is I'm breaking it into a new paragraph. So when people read this in a cold email, it's a lot more likely they're gonna read the whole thing because it's in bite-sized chunks versus having everything in one large paragraph. So when you're writing your cold emails, make sure that you break up every 1 or 2 sentences into its own paragraph so it's easy to read. And you really wanna think about, where are people reading these emails? Sometimes they're reading it on their computer. A lot of times they're actually reading it on their mobile device, whether it's iPhone, Android, right? And when you break up your paragraphs like this, it's just a lot more easy for people to digest, especially when they're on their mobile phones. So make sure you break it up, right? All right, so the next common mistake, number 3, that we're gonna talk about when it comes to cold email is that a lot of times people are way too general. Okay, so I understand the point where it's like sometimes when you're starting out, you want to say, hey, I could do this, this, and this. Like if you're a marketer, you might say, I could do SEO, I could do your Facebook ads, I could do your website, blah, blah, blah. And when you're too general, it's hard for people to understand what value you are truly bringing, right? Because it's such a shotgun approach, you're just betting on someone really thinking about how you might be able to help them, and it requires this person to do too much work. Instead, what you want to do is you want to focus in on the specific problems that you feel you can solve the best, and you want to take an educated guess on the prospects that have this problem, and you want to email those people. And when you email these people, you want to be very specific on what problems you can solve, right? So for example, let's say you specialize in SEO marketing. Your email should only be about SEO marketing, and don't make it about all these things you can do. Just narrow down on these specific problems that you can solve. Or if you are selling Facebook ad services, really hone in on Facebook ads, right? And try to find people that would be a good fit for you. Don't do this shotgun approach because it makes people think too much. And when you're too general, people aren't going to understand why they should even take a meeting with you. And an exercise that you guys can actually do right now to understand what your prospects' pains are is you just want to think about, okay, who do I want to work with? What are the top 3 pains that they have? Write them down, okay? And when you're writing your cold email, pick one of these pains and say, okay, today I'm gonna try a campaign where I talk about this specific problem to 20 people, and I'm gonna see if it works. If it doesn't work, okay, fine, let's try pain number 2. It doesn't work, try pain number 3. And eventually, you just keep going down the list until you find something that people in the market is receptive to. So again, shotgun approach is the lazy way to do it. You want to narrow down on one specific problem for that cold email, for that specific person, and try it out and see if it works. Now we're gonna go into cold email common mistake number 4, and that is having an unclear call to action, okay? So even when you get someone to open your email and read your email, you gotta get them to take the next step. So that means you have to define what that next step will be. And typically when it comes to cold email, the next step is obviously to get them either on the phone or a meeting in person, and you wanna make it crystal clear at the end of your email what they should be doing at the next stage, right? So if you're saying something too general, like, hey, when are you gonna be in LA? Or, hey, let's get a cup of coffee. The other person is gonna read that and they're gonna say like, should I email you back? Should I schedule a time? I'm not really sure what to do. So when they're confused, they're just not gonna do anything because it's not worth their time. So instead, what we wanna do is we want to give them a clear call to action that will help them and handhold them into what the next step will be. So an example would be if you wanna schedule someone on your calendar, right? Let's say you use an app like Calendly or some kind of software like that, then you could say, hey, if it makes sense to talk, go ahead and schedule a time on my calendar, and then give them a link and they could schedule a time. It's very clear what they should do. Or if you're not using a software like that, you could say, hey, if it makes sense to talk, let me know what your calendar looks like and I'll work around that. And then they're gonna give you a time, and then you'll schedule a meeting with email, and that's it. Pretty much when it comes to the cold email, make sure the next step is to schedule a time to talk, right? Usually that's the next step, and don't leave it vague, make it crystal clear on what the person should do. Now we're gonna move into cold email mistake number 5, and that is adding attachments and PDFs and links into your cold email. Now a lot of people ask me all the time, right? Should I put in a slide deck? Should I put in a PDF with more information? Maybe a link to my website. The thing is, you actually don't want to do this, and here's why. When you're writing a cold email, all you're simply doing is your goal is to get the person on the phone or a meeting in person, right? Any more information that you give them that doesn't necessarily help that goal distracts them from the goal, right? So if you give them a PDF or like some kind of white paper or something like that, they're gonna read it, they're gonna take a look at it. They might decide after looking at it that, hey, it actually doesn't make sense to talk, thanks for the information, and they just don't respond to you. You don't wanna give people too much information where they can make the decision on their own. You want to give enough information in the body of the actual email just to get them interested in taking a meeting with you. So if you overload them with information, either they're just not gonna read it and ignore you, or they might read it and decide they shouldn't take a meeting with you. Rarely will somebody read your white paper and say, oh, that's exactly what I need. It doesn't really work that way. You just need to focus on the meeting. So that's why you don't send PDFs, don't send white papers, don't send links to anything. So all you wanna do is focus on getting the meeting and see whether or not it makes sense to talk to each other. Remember, don't add any attachment, links, or anything like that because it doesn't help your goal. Only give them enough information that they need to make a decision on taking a meeting with you. All right, so with that said, those are gonna be the 5 common cold email mistakes that I see people make all the time. So make sure you are not making those mistakes. And if you are, go ahead and replace those bad habits with some good habits that I showed you in this video. Now, if you learned something today, make sure you give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure you hit that notification bell. And one last thing, if you are serious about taking your cold email skills to the next level, make sure you check out my free guide in the link in the description. You know, I had students who went from having a 5% response rate, meaning if they send 100 emails, only 5 people actually respond, to, you know, going through my material and then increasing the response rates to 20 and 30 and 40%, and sometimes, in some cases, even higher than that. So if you want to get started and really get your cold email skills to the next level and increase your response rate, increase your meeting rate so that you can generate more sales, make sure you get started by clicking the link in the description to get your free cold email guide. So with that said, that is it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and I will see you guys in the next one.